Hello, I have a behind-the-scenes look at the Henrietta Street gym here in Birmingham tonight with the proprietor, the head honcho, Neil Perkins. Neil, we've had a good look around this evening. It looks like something from Raging Bull 2 if they ever get round to making it. It's a very rustic feel, I think, to say in some quarters, isn't it? And as you can see from, we've been trying to get the best shot for about half an hour, but I think we have captured the scene. And yeah, it's something a bit different now. Do you want to talk us through how this has all come to be, mate? Because you already had a gym, didn't you? So
yeah, we had a gym. We wanted to move it up market, so we kind of kitted it out as like a 1920s boxing gym. So we kept the brickwork walls, the brown leather bags, conditioned area, full-size ring, and moved it forward.
Yeah, and it's a very desirable area to have, you know, any sort of business or, you know, endeavouring really, isn't it? It's a pretty sought after part of the city, isn't it? So
yes, Jewellery Quarter, we've got a lot going on in Birmingham now. We've got the new high-speed railway network, HS2, coming in, so we're getting a lot of real successful guys coming in the area. So from a commercial viewpoint, what it is, we're bringing new people into the sport of boxing as recreational trainers. And then obviously I'm still got my pros and my amateurs here, which is great because hopefully we can push a few tickets and sell out a few shows in the area.
Yeah, we'll come to that later, but just coming back to the gym a little bit, obviously, you know, this is not a place to... This is a place to exercise, but it's, you know, this is a boxing gym, isn't it, first and foremost? So.
You know, the team we've got down here, we've got a team full of ex or current boxers working here. Obviously, I've had guys in the past for me, like Tommy Langford worked for me, who's now tied up with his own endeavours.
Yes, most definitely.
But obviously, you know, we've got Matt Windle working here, I've got Paul Goff working here, he's still coaching his pros, we've got Mick Maguire, who's involved with the amateur setup.
Ah, yeah, he does the flag squad, doesn't he, Mick does?
He does, yeah, we've got a few successful females in our amateurs as well. But even from a recreational viewpoint, we're finding we're getting lots of women in boxing training now. It tends to be a huge growing market. Yeah,
I mean, I've read the press release and some of your comments on there just talking about how beginners, you know, who may not even probably want to fight, just want to get the core basics that boxing, you know, the core basics of fitness that boxing can provide. Do you want to talk us through the sort of things you're doing in that area with your classes and stuff like that?
We deliver everything like an authentic boxing workout, and even from the viewpoint, if we get a recreational gym user coming here, we train them the same way we train a pro or an amateur. By the fact we'll take them on pads, we'll show them how to use bags, we'll show them how to skip, we'll show them how to shadow box, the thing that's worked for boxers for hundreds of years. We show them how to, you know, get fit, and as we say with the gym, get inspired by the old school.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, not everyone's going to be great at boxing, but there's no reason why you've got to learn the basics, isn't it? That's probably
that's what they said about me, Craig.
Well, I didn't say... Well, yeah, I may have said that, actually. But, and when can we expect all this to sort of kick into gear, then? I think there's just a bit of cleaning up that needs to be done, but everything's about ready to go, isn't it? So
yeah, we're open on Monday. We're soft open on Monday. I've got an official launch in August. I'm just waiting for a proposed date off one of my ex-sparring partners who's coming down to open it up. It could be one of the two former world champions I've sparred. It depends which one I can get down here first.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting stuff. So the people who are watching the video or seeing the press release or, you know, various other things on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, how do they go about coming and being a part of this after the opening?
On classes, check out the website henriettastreetgym.com and come down and check it out. Come and do some classes, come and get a feel for the place and come and see what it's all about.
Yeah, well, this is a busy old place, isn't it? You know, you're going to have your classes here, and you know the punters that come in here to get fits and so on. But ultimately, you know, there's boxers piling out of it. First, you've got the Jewellery Quarter boxing squad, and you know, the amateur gym that's growing all the time. Notice more and more of them in the championships and so on, and lots of prospects there for you to get excited about, Neil, isn't there? So
yeah, the amateur squad's been you know, a real development. I've enjoyed it as much as I enjoy training barristers and midlife crisis boxers. It's quite nice to get back in working with actual amateurs, and it's kind of reignited my fire a little bit, to be honest, from a coaching perspective. We've got some cracking amateurs coming through. Jordan Thompson did very well in the ABA.
He did, yes.
Lost in the Midlands final to the overall winner.
In Whittaker, yes.
Yeah, Whittaker's a good kid. And we've got a lot of good lads coming through. We've got some fantastic juniors. And we seem to be growing a solid squad now.
Yeah. I mean, they train a bit later in the evening, really, doesn't it? So the sort of the rush after work is pretty much the...
Yeah, we get our 5 o'clock warriors in. We get all our city centre workers in 5:30, 6.
Yeah, need to let off some steam after a day at the office. I know how they feel. So
you know, obviously, as it gets quiet at 8 o'clock at night, our amateurs feed in. Which has been the only disappointment is because of the times we train our amateurs, we tend to be more senior dominated rather than juniors. But the juniors that do make a trip over at 8 o'clock at night, we've also got some fantastic juniors. You know, Olivia Freeman did very, very well this year. I think she had 4 bouts now. She's one we're hoping for big things from. We've got a couple of juniors in there. Owen and Mason, both cracking kids.
Yeah, Bo Brown, yeah.
Very, very good kids, and we've got a fantastic squad down here now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with these facilities, there's no reason in the fullness of time where you can't be turning out champions and then bringing them into the pro game. No pressure on you, Neil, but everything's there for them, isn't it? So
yeah, well, that's what I hope. But even from the viewpoint of the fact that we've got top strength and conditioning coaches in here doing Olympic weightlifting, and I know there's a lot of change in the thought to training with athletes now, but we've got everything under one roof. We've got a team of fitness professionals, but ultimately you can do as much weightlifting and do as much conditioning you want. Boxing is ultimately decided by how well you throw punches, and that's what will ultimately be judged on.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, the office warriors and so on. I mean, you've got a suburb full of them here, really, haven't you? That's the thing, and they get to mingle and rub shoulders and see how it's done. Not just while they're training, and they can watch the sparring and so on. It's it's one for the real boxing fans, among them as well. Because you never know who is a boxing fan, do you? So
no, they don't. They really enjoy it. We like it when we've got the pros and the amateurs sparring. Very often they'll find out. We had Jay Harris down at the old gym the other day, one of Gary Lockett's prospects.
Yes, good lad, isn't he, Jay? So.
Very good kid, sparring with Matt Windle. And we had 5 or 6 members make a beeline down to come and watch it, which is great because they get an appreciation for the sport. And then they'll come and support the lads. And as well as I do professional boxing, unfortunately, as much of anything else about tickets, if they can build them a following, bring these people to come and watch them, they're buying into them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for the new people joining the gym and so on, I think everyone's got to start somewhere, haven't they? I mean, some people don't know they've got an aptitude for the sport until they actually try and do it. I mean, you look back at your days at Priory Park. How did you come into the sport and so on? I mean, I imagine you didn't have facilities like this. Priory Park's just been done out, but I can imagine what it looked like then. So.
Well, Priory is very basic. For those of you who wander up the Priory now, you're not a real boxer until you train at the old Priory.
Yeah.
But no,
you were drinking cups of tea last time I was there. Imagine that back in the day. So.
Tea in the Black Country, Craig.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's about giving people appreciation for the sport. If they can appreciate the sport and they can interact, they can meet the pros, they can meet the amateurs, then they're going to want to support it and follow it through.
Yeah, I mean, it's a club, isn't it, ultimately? And part of the aspect of any club is the camaraderie and so on, along with the hard work, isn't it?
The whole basis of this gym was built what Paul Goff taught me at Priory, and that you build a community. And if you can build a community where you get all people working together, that's great. From my pros that do work for you, they're a little bit privileged because I'll put a bit of muscle behind them in terms of helping them push a few tickets, which obviously helps them along the journey because it's about building support and building a following for these lads. Yeah,
I mean, Priory is so such a community gym, but in big cities it can be difficult. I mean, whether you're in London, Birmingham, Manchester, in the big cities, that community feel is so often lost, isn't it?
Yeah, the problem you've got here is we are in a corporate sector. The problem is with the corporates, a lot of people don't actually live in the city centre, they're travelling. So we're trying to build relations now with guys that work in local firms in the town and say, look, come on, especially if there's dinner shows and like the show that PJ's putting on in a few weeks, to get these guys to come and support it. It's on the doorstep, it's in the Jewellery Quarter. Well, it's actually in Hockley, but it's on the doorstep of the Jewellery Quarter. They can come down, watch some quality boxing and go and have a few drinks in town after, which is an ideal corporate night out. And I don't know why more people don't do it.
Yeah. Well, some of the things you get up to, you wonder how boxing gets overlooked in relation to that, which comes back to my next, the reckoning, just down the road, literally just down the road at the Futsal Centre. A week Saturday, that's July the 16th. One of the top pros from here, Matt Windle, 6-round fights. Bit of needle there. This is a risk for him, this is, isn't it? I mean, to step up in distance is a risk for the other kid as well, because he's not had many fights, but this could be explosive stuff, couldn't it? It's a war of words that sort of started on Twitter. Yeah. Do you want to talk us through how this has all come to pass? Because this is not a fight that's just been picked out of the air, is it? So
he needs to step up. There was a little bit of needle where, well, not needle, the trainer, I think, rather unprofessionally called him out on Twitter. I wouldn't dream of questioning someone else's fight on Twitter and leave them well alone. As for Matt, Matt does what he does, and Matt referred it on as it is now. It's a suitable time for a step up an opponent. It's someone that's coming to win. It's someone that's not coming to lie over or survive. And it's going to be exciting. As for Matt, he's in a weight division where there's only 13 flyweights in the country.
Yes, that's true.
And he's going to have to step up sooner rather than later. And that's the reality of the situation. If he was a welterweight, I could get him 20 fights before he fought anyone with a winning record. It's not going to happen with a flyweight.
Yeah.
I look at the calibre of sparring he has. More recently he's been learning lots off Don Broadus. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, he's still got the moves Don has, hasn't he?
Don's quality. Don's a quality operator. He's a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. So Matt's going to learn off him. Jay Harris, he's been down sparring with the famous Prince Patel, who incidentally is a lovely kid.
Yes, yes, he's a character from what I'm told.
He's a character, he's a lovely kid. You know, Willie Din, we've sparred some real
Din, very good lad as well.
He's holding his own with him, and I think now he's ready to step up to this level of opponent. And I think I've always said all along, Matt's, you know, going to eventually be a 10 and 12 round fighter, so their extra 2 rounds, I welcome them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's got the flashy gimmick, he's the professional poet, he's the superhero with the mask and everything else. I've sat there and watched Batman and Superman with him for one thing or another. But when the bell rings, this is big, you know, he's really got to get down to business here. There's no messing about. This is a hard fight, isn't it? So.
You know, I always joke with him. I said that I was always a heavyweight and I didn't watch anything below cruiserweight. And now I'm watching flyweights, observing them because they're future opponents. I'm enjoying it. And Matt, an all-action flyweight, he's quite heavy-handed for a flyweight, so there's always a chance of a stoppage. He's venomous to the body, and he's all-action, so you know he's great to watch, which is good. He is more of a technical boxer than people give him credit for, and he can counter-punch. His timing is one of his best assets, but he's a front-foot pressure fighter, which means he's always going to be involved in exciting fights.
Yeah.
I think this one, from what we know about Conor Blackshaw's a come-forward fighter. You know, he's not a journeyman, he's not at 30 fights, he's got ambition himself. He's come into the professional game with the Shinfields, he wants to do stuff, and he wants to come and win, and we welcome that, because what you ultimately want to do is, for the people who are paying £35 a ticket, you want to make sure that they're enthralled by that fight and enjoying it, and I think they will be.
Yeah, good spot on the card as well, isn't it? You know, he opened the show last time he boxed, and now he's probably, you know, he's going to be far up the card in this 6-round fight, so it's been easy. I mean, take away the opponents. It must have been easy to train him for this and get him up for this. You know, with the facilities he's got to train in, you know, Chris in the ring and so on. He must be dying to get started now, I imagine. So.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm still currently serving my suspension with the board, and yet to have that rectified.
We weren't going to mention that, but never mind.
Jamie Cale's currently doing a lot of his training because I've been tied up with the new premises, which is great because Jamie does do most of his training now, and Jamie's been taking him down to Gary Lockett's for sparring. You know, he's developing, he's progressing, and I'm excited by where he's going, and I'm excited for the opportunity of his fight. He hasn't had a lot of time out in the gym, and you know he's carried on his learning. But learning's important, and fights are important. You know, there was mentions of other options we had available to us. The reason why we signed with PJ is because we wanted to get him out and fighting regular. You know, this is his 4th fight in 7 months, which is great. He'll probably be on a couple of times again before the end of the year. You can't argue, a pro in his first year of boxing, he'll have had 6 fights, and he's up to 6 rounds already, so we can't argue with that.
Okay, so all the people around here, all the people watching this video, they could do worse and get themselves down here and sign up come Monday, and then go get themselves a ticket to go and watch Matt on Saturday. And they can do that through yourself on Facebook, Neil Perkins, or the promoter PJ Rosen and so on, and promises to be a good night, doesn't it? So.
Does it? I can't wait. Ricky Summers is on the bill. You know, portrayed by Paul Goff, my old trainer, great fighter, moving forward. And there's a cracking main event. You know, we were spoilt last time by Craig Cunningham, and then obviously you got Jason Wellborn, who's never in a boring fight.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Excellent, fantastic. As you can see by Neil's attire, he's been working hard in the gym today. He's normally wearing a suit, but never mind. And thanks for your time, Neil. We know we've kept you a long time, but it's been a good chat, and we'll see you again very soon.
Cheers, Craig. Thank you.